Well, first of all, thank you
Hear you,
very
you're
much,
perfect.
Rob.
So
And this
just
is
go ahead.
really, I mean, I just tweeted it that this is one of the most exciting things that have happened in ELT in years. This is absolutely fantastic. And thank you very much for inviting me. All right. I have done this in an hour and a half. I've done this in 20 minutes. I actually did this in 20 minutes at IATEFL in April. But in 10 minutes, well, let's see. In Merrick's presentation, like about half an hour ago, he talked about the fact that we need to fix the fracture between nests and non-nests. I am not going to use the terms nest and non-nest. I'm going to use native speakers, non-native speakers. I know many people have problems with that, and but anyway, I'm going to use this just because it's easier. I mean, it's easier when you're writing nest and non-nest. It's very easy to understand, but when you're speaking, it may be a bit more complicated. So I'm going to use native and non-native. I know these terms are not really very accepted anymore in ELT, and I think they shouldn't be. But anyway, it's just easier. So as you see here on my cover slide, the elephant in the room. Actually, this talk in the beginning used to be called the elephant in the room. I think that there is a very, very big problem in ELT at the moment. Actually, there has been for many years. And the thing is, we don't talk about it. Apparently, there's been a memo I missed. I mean, probably people got my name wrong in the email, and I never got the memo. But it said that we should never talk about the very obvious fact, the fact that everybody is aware of, that many non-native teachers of English have serious language problems. And I am not going to sugarcoat this because that's all we do. I mean, we tiptoe around the topic and we never really talk about it as it needs to be talked about. So we have a language problem. I mean, we non-native speakers of English, sometimes we have lots of difficulty to communicate in English, and that can be a problem. So anyway, I'm gonna move on because I don't have much time. I'm sure many of you are familiar with parsnip. This is a term that is used in materials writing, in course book writing a lot. These are the topics that you're supposed to shy away from when you're writing course books. So politics, alcohol, and so on. But I actually think there's also language development for teachers. I mean, we never talk about this. We never talk about the fact, or we don't talk as much about the fact that that teachers of English need to study lots and lots and lots of English and improve their level of English. And when we do this in a very general way, treating native speakers and non-native speakers of English the very same way. And I've been working as a teacher in Brazil for 17 years, and I've been working as a teacher trainer, and I've been working in language development for teachers for about 10 years. And if there is one thing I think that non-native teachers really, really need to work on is their knowledge of English. There are serious issues. Many teachers in Brazil have have a lot of difficulty to communicate in English, and this is a problem for career development, among many other things. I'm going to start with a quote. This is Scott Thornbury, our boss, I mean, the Bruce Springsteen of ELT. I'm not going to read the whole quote, but basically what Scott's saying here is that knowledge of English is vital if you're teaching English, that you really need to know a lot about English, and that this is going to have a very important effect on how successful you're going to be in the classroom and in your career. Yeah, I particularly like this part very much. An inability to, I mean, if you have problems with language, the result's going to be an inability to deal satisfactorily with errors or to field learners' queries, and a general failure to earn the confidence of new learners due to a lack of basic terminology and ability to present new language clearly and efficiently, and so on. So, okay, Natalie, I'm all right. Anyway, but Scott Thornbury is very important in ELT. I mean, the Bruce Springsteen thing was a joke, but he really is very, very, very important. And that's why this is the only quote that I have left. There were many, many quotes in the original presentation. Anyway, so uh, a good friend of mine who was here in the room until a few minutes ago, but unfortunately is not here anymore, he posted on his blog, a fantastic blog that I really, really recommend, these 10 mistakes that teachers of English might be making in the classroom. And he was talking about non-native speakers of English. That these are 10 mistakes the teachers make very often in their classrooms, right? I'm not going to go over all these mistakes, but especially because this is not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about when I talk about language development for non-native teachers of English is not the English that we use in the classroom. Because if we do talk about language development for teachers in the if we do talk about the very little that we say about language development for teachers in the classroom is about classroom language, right? But that's not it. What I'm talking about, what I think that we non-native teachers of English need to improve on, need to study, and need to get better at is this. This is a friend of mine, Henrico Pereira. He is the first vice president of the BRAS-TESOL, the Brazilian Association of TESOL. I'm the second vice president at the moment, and he says that the number one issue he faced when hiring teachers in Brazil, for example, was lack of command of language. So you can possibly reach a certain level in the profession unless you develop your language. So this is a very important thing, and one that we talk very, very little about. Again, to mention Scott Thornbury, he wrote an article very recently in the Modern English Language Teacher magazine, the Modern English Teacher magazine. And he was talking about language development for teachers. I was really, really excited when I heard that Scott had written about this. And then I read his article, and then I was really frustrated because he never mentioned non-native speakers of English there. I mean, native speakers are not doing us any favor when they don't talk about this, when they don't say that we have a language problem that needs to be addressed. We really need to work on our level of English. And perhaps if we talked about that, I mean, if this was out in the open, maybe we would be helping some fantastic teachers we have in Brazil, in Turkey, in Argentina, and in Uruguay advance in their careers. But by not talking about it, we're really, really not helping anyone. Yeah. All right, moving on. So what I am talking about is that teachers must study, especially non-native teachers of English, a lot of grammar, a lot of vocabulary, a lot of phonology, a lot of discourse, I mean, how language is used in real life, and of course, methodology and techniques as well. But if you look, for example, at the last IATEFL's program, you're going to see that everybody was talking about elements of methodology and technique and everything. But even though you had teachers from nearly 200 countries, there wasn't anyone, apart from myself, talking about the fact that we have to develop our knowledge of English. So this is extremely important. I mean, we see colleagues who, well, to be quite frank, I mean, they have lousy pays and they really have difficulty to be taken seriously in the profession, and nobody is telling them that they need to study more English. It's as simple as that. So this is really, really important, I think. For example, in the last IATEFL, out of the 5 plenary speakers, only one of them was a non-native speaker of English. And I don't know much about Dr. Harry Kuch's work, I mean, who was the only plenary speaker who was not a native speaker of English. But one thing I know about his work is that he is absolutely proficient. Yeah, he is absolutely proficient, and that we are not going to have more native speakers in very high places in ELT if we don't talk more about language development for teachers. Okay, I think I have about 1 minute, so I am going to talk about this very briefly. Last year, I listened to a lot of podcasts. I mean, I need to improve my English a lot because I'm not a native speaker of English. And I heard this sentence here, which was, police stations have been being seized. So this was talking about the situation in Ukraine last year, as I'm sure you will remember. And then I posted this on Facebook and I asked my fellow teachers what they thought of this sentence, if it sounded okay, because it sounded wrong to me. And this are some of the comments that I got. You see, and these were, these were native speakers and non-native speakers together. So this is really, really, really serious. I mean, it is present perfect continuous or present perfect itself all the time. And we have, you see here, there were many more comments. There were upwards of 200 comments in this particular post that we don't agree. I mean, we don't know. We can't really answer these very, very simple questions. And this goes, of course, for both native and non-native speakers of English. But it just, I think, goes to show that we need to study the thing that we teach, which is English. I mean, knowing how to use technology in the classroom is very important. Knowing, being better at classroom management is very important. But I mean, knowing the subject matter that you teach, it seems to me is extremely important too. So why is this unproblematized? I've actually pastored lots and lots of people in EOT in the past few years. All right, I'm sorry. But you can see here what they said, and you can get in touch with me. Thank you very much. This is my email address. Sorry, Rob. Thank you very much.